This week on the podcast, we've got Jarrod Berry in the house to talk about the game on the weekend, his own personal form, and how he's settling into life at the Gabba. Let's get into it. Jarrod, thanks for joining us tonight. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Pretty exciting time to be talking to us after a great win on the weekend. Tell us how you're feeling. You still buzzing?
Yeah, definitely. Still on top of the world. So
yeah,
wins haven't come too plentiful this year, and it's good to get one, especially on the road against a good side, Essendon.
What does a win like that do for the confidence of the group? Obviously, betting a good side like Essendon on the road, backs against the wall, you're 27 points down, and to come over the top of them must just be a great confidence booster for the group.
Yeah, definitely. I think especially being a pretty young group all around, it definitely shows a fair bit of character and spirit that we're starting to develop in the side. So, like you said, being an away game and being 27 points down in the final quarter, them kicking the first goal in the final quarter, I guess, it's good for us young sides to actually challenge good sides like that and come out with a win. So very excited for the boys and it's a great character building win, I think.
Was there a particular message or instruction you were given at 3/4 times? It seemed after Darcy Parish kicked that goal, then it just sort of all sparked into action. What was something Chris Fagan might have said at 3/4 time?
Well, pretty much everything that our game plan revolved around is effort, pretty much. So that was probably the strongest message at 3/4 time. That as long as we got the effort and the belief that we can win, then we're definitely within a shot. So I guess the 3 quarters before that become irrelevant in that last quarter, and it's just a fight to win the last quarter. So and we did that through our effort. So.
And the round 2 game, the guys didn't get the result in that one, but it was a really positive performance and that sort of thing pushed them right to the end. Did the guys take a lot out of that game bringing into this one? You obviously weren't playing in that one, but did the guys take a bit out of that game?
Yeah, definitely. I guess it helped us in our reviews and our previews to get ready for the side and know what they like to play like and how they like to move the ball. So it definitely helped heaps. And like I said, as long as we could bring that effort on the day, then we knew we were going to be in for a good contest.
It's a good point you make, Ollie, because I've noticed that was the second time we've sort of played a team for the second time in the season, and on both times, like the Port game and now Essendon, we were pretty considerable improvements from first appearance to second appearance. So good point there. Jarrod, just going back to your season, how have you seen it so far and how you've progressed throughout the year? You're probably recruited as a flanker type, but you've started to develop into some big midfield minutes and playing centre clearances as well.
Obviously, like the biggest thing for me this season has been actually being able to get that opportunity at such an early stage, and I guess to play or step up from under 18 sort of football to playing senior men, it's a huge jump, and it's been a massive challenge for me, I guess, and I feel like that I just got to keep growing with every game, and I know I've got the right people behind me helping me out day in, day out to do that. And like you said, being lucky enough to playing a bit of midfield time in one of a very good midfield that we have. So it's nearly surreal playing against players or playing with players like Dane Zorko and Tom Rockcliffe and Dane Beams, who are superstars of the competition. So and big Steph Martin as well.
Yeah, it is such a young group, but what are those older guys like around the group, and how important are they for the younger guys at the club? Because we have the youngest list in the league, and you've got Dane Zorko, Dane Beams, Steph Martin, Tommy Rockcliffe. They've been around for a while now.
Yeah, I think that it's important for them to they do everything they can with their younger group of players to improve us. So if that's watching vision or doing an extra touch session or just these little things like that, they're always willing to help and stuff like that. But yeah, like they're awesome around the group. All really good fellas. They really get around us young fellas and make us feel a part of it all, which is really important. So the relationships are definitely there, and hopefully get to see us in the next or the rest of the season and in the future, just growing as a group together because of these older blokes leading the way.
Yeah, certainly trending in an upward direction. How have you found the move to Queensland? Obviously, you grew up in Victoria. How have you found that big step in your life?
Pretty interesting actually. First session we were in 34 degrees heat and I couldn't even walk without sweating. So it was a very big change weather-wise, but you're definitely reaping the rewards now when it's 22 degrees and it's minuses down in Victoria. So the winter's very livable up here. But obviously moving up with Hugh's been good, and the boarding school side of things before I got drafted definitely helped me move away from my family and feel comfortable straight away. So it's been very, very good.
How much did it help to have a guy like you who you'd already played with and knew very well to be moving up to the same club as well?
I guess very lucky that we actually ended up together playing at the same club. This time, I guess it was a little man upstairs that just said it had. I don't know. It's made it a whole lot easier for me, that's for sure. Because obviously one of me good mates, and it's just been comfortable, I guess, and having that support. That support that is going through the same thing, and it just makes it a whole lot easier.
And obviously not only Hugh as well, but Cedric came from the same club as yourself, and you would have played a lot of underage footy with Alex as well.
Yeah, definitely. Alex has been close to my family and me since pretty much under 12s when we met in the Victorian squad there. So for him to move up as well was awesome, and obviously all playing together now is another come true. So very exciting.
I think he missed the Rising Star nomination this week after a pretty stellar performance on the weekend. Are you surprised at how seamlessly he sort of slotted into his first games of AFL footy?
I wouldn't say surprised. If you know Alex, he's definitely a character that is, I guess, confident in himself, and that vibrates throughout the group, and you just know he's going to slot in whatever role you give to him. If he's playing forward, if he's playing midfield, or if he's playing back, where he's at the moment, he's going slot in and provide that effort, and obviously the class that he's been able to show in his first 2 games, which I think 20 disposals in the first game, 29 in the second.
Yeah.
Can't ask for a better start to your career than that. So, no, he's a superstar, Alex, and yeah, look forward to playing alongside him for a long time.
We all look forward to watching you guys develop as well. Ollie, do you have anything else for Jarrod before we let him go?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right, Jarrod, well, thanks for being so generous with your time and joining us tonight. We really appreciate the chat, mate.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
No worries, mate. See you
Thanks,
later.
Jarrod.
All right, Ollie, that was good to hear from Jarrod and get a bit of insight into how he's going with the move and how his footy's going as well. I think he even sounded surprised how quickly he sort of progressed from, a sort of fringe player to being a big part of our midfield rotation.
Well, he's a huge part of the side now. He came in for his debut in round 3, had a really good first up game, and has been in the side since then. Hasn't missed a game at all. So he's a really valued member of the side already in his first year. So he's going on great, spoke beautifully then, and yeah, really great guy for the future.
Obviously, ourselves and the fans are still up and about from a great win on the weekend. How did you see the game?
Oh, fantastic game. And I just had some sort of feeling last week that we'd put in a good effort against the Bombers. We played really well against them in round 2.
You were confident.
We probably should have won that game. And yeah, there were stages there on the weekend where I thought Bombers might pull away, and they were really determined to make up for that game against Sydney. But the most pleasing part about it was just our resilience. To be 27 points down, they kicked the first goal of the last quarter. It could have gone the other way at that point, and the Bombers could have got a run on and had a big win. But to our credit, we just stuck in and just had a real crack, and we just wanted it more than they did. We just really wanted it and moved the ball well, and it all came together for us. And it was one of the best wins we've had in the last 4 years. It's right up there, and it's going to give the club so much confidence to knock off the team that's in finals contention. They're in top 8 contention still, and they've beaten some good sides this year. So to do that on the road, win for the Melbourne fans, I think it's your first live win in, 7 years?
Yeah, 2010. I think we were talking about my last live win was against Collingwood, so a fair while between drinks, but it was certainly enjoyable. But as you said, being there, it just felt like for the first 3 quarters we just were hanging in there, just hanging in. And then I personally might not be as optimistic as other people that were at the ground, but I just thought at some point the damn wall was going to break and Essendon was just going to get a bit of a run on and kick a few goals. But especially when Darcy Parish kicked that goal to start the 4th quarter, I thought, here we go. But yeah, to the boys' credit, they just cracked in. And I think fortunately as well, actually, after Parish kicked that goal, Essendon hit the post twice, Joe Danaher, with a snap, and maybe Joe Watson as well. But anyway, that was the opportunity we needed and we grabbed it, There's plenty of individual performances, but I thought one of the standouts for mine was the defensive group as a whole, probably led by Dan McStay and Harris Andrews and Sam Mays.
Absolutely. And you look to that round 2 game, Orazio Fantasia and Tip and Woody, they really cut us up and made a big impact that day, but they didn't have a lot of it on the weekend. Tip and Woody kicked a couple of really good goals, but only had the 6 possessions. Fantasia just kicked the 1 goal. He really tore us to shreds at the Gabba. So, Joe Danaher had his chances. He could have put us away. He did hit the post in the last quarter, and Carl Hooker had his chances as well. But, the defensive group, Harris Andrews in his 50th game was absolutely outstanding, and it's just so exciting to have in that back half. But really good defensive effort to hold them out for as long as we did in the first half. They had a lot of scoring shots, probably didn't quite take advantage, but the back 6 held up tremendously well.
Who did you score the points to between Harris and Joe? It's probably one of those sort of duels that we enjoyed watching, like Tom Lynch and Harris earlier in the year. Who did you give the thumbs up to?
It was a pretty even sort of contest, but I think you have to give it to Harris. He's on the winning side in the end.
I think
Joe Danaher's kicked the 3 goals, but we've seen him have bigger games than that for sure. He's one of the stars of the competition now.
For one of them, Harris actually wasn't on him. I think Dan McStay turned the ball over and it was sort of left up to him to get Joe. So, 2 goals. A lot of great contests as well.
Yeah.
I agree with you completely. I think Harris took the points just. It was a great battle to watch, actually. Another area of the ground. Oh, actually, we should mention Alex Witherden's performance. 29 disposals in his second game. We have recently learnt that he didn't get the Rising Star nomination this week, which is a bit...
Robbed.
Bit disappointing, but, I mean, the class and composure he showed was tremendous and well beyond his years.
Oh, it was incredible. He's only playing his... was his second game?
Second game, yep.
Yeah, and he looked like he'd been out there for 5-6 years. Just the composure, his class, he is so exciting. And he's probably been overlooked a bit. He hasn't been right up there in terms of the fans and probably the players we expect to come right through. But he's right at the top of the list now. That was a absolutely incredible display on the weekend, 21 possessions. And I'm sure the Rising Star nom is going to come soon.
Yeah,
he's played outstanding, but been our best, 29 possessions. You can't ask for too much more than that, but I'm sure there'll be 1 before the year's out.
I'd be disappointed if we didn't have 2 before the year's out with our guest Jarrod and also Alex. But moving to the other end of the ground, Eric Hipwood finished with 4 goals and was absolutely electric up front. But I thought in terms of a complete game, he was clunking marks as well. His contested marking was probably the most consistent it's been all year, and he was getting up the ground, and just a really, really promising game from him.
Yeah, absolutely. The 4 goals, and I don't think we'll forget that last quarter goal anytime soon on the run from 50 metres out. It bounces through, got the commentators up and about, and he just has one of those moments every week now where he's just really got the crowd on edge, gets everyone up and going. And, it's going to be exciting just to see him and Josh Shackey growing to that forward line. It's very, very exciting.
There's a lot of debate, I suppose, or talk about the Rising Star and who's going to win it this year. Sam Palpepper and Ryan Burton, but just a sneaky chance Eric might be up there. He is leading the Rising Star nominees in goals kicked this year, so if he finishes with a few more games of 4 and a couple more bags, you never know at the end of the year how the judges might vote it, but we might have another winner. And going back to Louis Taylor and Daniel Rich, even Nathan Buckley back in the day.
Yeah, it's so hard for young forwards to kick goals early in their career. And for Eric to already have 22 this year, he could easily finish close to, if he gets on the end of a few good games, he could finish closer to 40. So it's a great year for him. He's had a few down games, so that's going to happen with young forwards and in a bottom side as well. So that was really encouraging on the weekend, and it backs up his performance against Essendon in round 2 as well. He showed that night that he's really going to be a star for the future. But the last 4 weeks, I think he's been very consistent, and that was probably wavering a bit early in the season. But the consistency is starting to come out in him now.
Another player I think is probably worth talking about is Josh Walker. He struggled a bit in the first half playing forward, but then when they shuffled the magnets and threw him back as a result of Darcy going down, he was brilliant as an intercepting defender and kicked a beautiful long goal as well, which I think brought us level or brought us within a goal. It was late in the game, so it was a crucial clutch goal. But how did you see Josh's comeback to the team?
Yeah, he's had to bide his time in the needful a bit. He obviously came across from Geelong as a key position player, but he had a terrific game, and that goal in the last quarter, it wasn't an easy kick, and he got the 50-metre penalty and went back and nailed it at such an important time in the game, and really got the guys up and about. And I think it might have got us, I think probably round about level. So It was a crucial period of the game, and just to convert it like he did was sensational. And if he can play that role as a key defender that can switch forward or vice versa, that's going to be so important for us. So I think he's a bit more experienced than some of the other key position players, so I think he's a good one to have in the side.
I must admit, when the selection came through that it was replacing Dane Beams, I was not upset, but I was quite confused. It seemed like a very top-heavy team with Archie Smith also running around, but I guess that's why I'm not the coach of the Brisbane Lions. Shows what I know.
Well, we might talk about the coach, and how great was it to see Chris Fagan just up in the box and just the genuine excitement on his face in that last quarter. There's a few pans to the box early in the quarter. He was pretty fired up, but just to see the joy on his face at the end and get down on the ground to hug all the players, get in the rooms after the game and get in the circle and sing the song, that was just brilliant to watch.
Yeah, for sure. The emotion he showed was really impressive. And also the way he got around all the players. Like, there's some really touching photos of him embracing Rockcliffe and Zorko and all the boys. So it's good to see how invested he is and how much he obviously cares about the group and wanting them to develop. But I think you'd be hard pressed to find a Lions fan that's disappointed with the job Fagan's done. Just the growth over this year alone has been tremendous, and you can safely say that we've reached the bottom and we're on the upward trajectory now.
Yeah. The future's looking so much brighter than it was 6-7 weeks ago.
That buy.
I reckon the buy and the Josh Shackey re-signing, it might just be a coincidence, but I think there's just been a different vibe around the group since Josh re-signed. There's so much speculation around him, and could we lose another high-profile draft pick at an early time? But for him to re-sign, recommit to the club, I think it's just been a bit of a weight lifted off the shoulders of the players, the club, and since then we've had some really good performances. We've had the 2 wins, and we've been pretty competitive in the other games as well. So
as we talked about with Jarrod, like we showed in the Port game the second time around how much we improved since the first time we played them. And even GWS, we lost by 60 points, but there was a lot of positives, particularly from our young players, to take out of that game. And hopefully we can translate that or continue that sort of tone into Geelong this weekend at the Gabba, which will be another big game. Geelong coming off a draw, actually, so no doubt they'll be pumped to get back in the winners list.
Yeah, that was a really big result for them, actually. They would have obviously loved to have won the game, and Tom Hawkins would have loved to get that goal after the siren, but to get that close against GWS in Sydney without Selwood, that's true. Huge.
It sounds like we'll have
they're going to go up.
Sounds like we'll have to deal with Selwood coming back this week as well.
Yeah. But hopefully we can pull off a Miracle on Grass Part 2.
Yeah, that would have been 4 years ago now.
4 years ago,
yeah. Celebrate the anniversary. Anything else from the Essendon game you want to talk about before we wrap it up? I think plenty of honourable mentions to go around. Like, even Roe Buick, you wouldn't have said he was one of the best, but he kicked 3. And
he kicked 3, 2 in the last quarter when we really needed it.
And even Leicester probably had one of his poorer games, but, that contested mark and the go-ahead goal.
Yeah. And Zorko to bounce back after the worst game of his career the week before, and to get 30 possessions and the 2 goals back to his, what I think is all-Australian form, and I'm sure he will be in there at the end of the season if he keeps this up. And Sammy Mays just keeps coming on in leaps and bounds, and he's taking his game to another level this year, another really good game. Tommy Cutler kicked a good goal as well in the last quarter. You go through most of the guys there and you say, wow, they had really good games.
And Tommy Cutler sort of playing a bit more of an aggressive role. Like, we recruited him as a half-back, but he's almost been playing like a Isaac Smith winger's role
Yeah.
He's got a lot of the ball in recent times. I think 27.
He had 28 possessions.
28 on the weekend.
Yeah.
And a goal. So, and, he's quite fast, and obviously he's a long kick. So he's pretty good offensive weapon for us. But another name I thought was good in clutch moments was Archie Smith. Fagan actually threw him into the ruck for a big part of that fourth quarter, and there was one goal, I think he got the clearance to Zorko, and Archie actually started a turnover at halfback for another goal. So even though he might not have got a lot of the ball, he certainly had his moments that contributed to our comeback.
Yeah, he did. And he was in there around the contest, going in hard, and some really good efforts to contribute to goals. Like, didn't kick goal himself, but he played a big role in some of those goals. So you look through most of those names, and they've improved this year.
Yeah,
a lot of those guys have improved a lot. Very young side, so that they're going to improve. But even some of the other guys that have been there for longer periods, like I mentioned, Sammy Mays and
Louis Taylor,
Nick Robbo, Ron Buick. He's been out of the side but came back in and performed superbly. So, plenty to like.
The last thing we'll talk about before we wrap up another episode is obviously we've lost Darcy Gardner for what actually might be the entire season. Dislocated elbow. I don't know too much about that, so I don't know.
Yeah, they're pretty nasty.
And the way Fagan was sort of talking is it could be season over. So in terms of, I suppose, replacements for this weekend, who would you see fulfilling or filling in his role?
Yeah, it's a tough one. He's had such a big impact this year, and
it's been good this year.
It's hard to replace down there because he plays that really aggressive type defender role. So there's probably not too many guys that can come straight in and just replace him straight away. But there's been some pretty good performances in NEFL this year. So maybe someone like Harwood could come back in.
I think he's still got a bit of an injury. I think he's out for 2 weeks with a foot sort of thing. But Ben Keags is an interesting one you mentioned because he had 30 plus and 4 goals in the NEFL on the weekend. So literally knocking down the door for selection. I was surprised we didn't bring him in for Beams.
Yeah, I was as well. But good move in the end to bring in Joshy Walker.
That's right. I think maybe Walker stays down back as that sort of replacement for Gardner, or maybe we look at a Sam Skinner been playing pretty good footy. Jack Frost is almost the forgotten man of our club now, but
he is.
Jacob Allison was another that racked up 30 in the NEFL, and he has at times played a bit of a half-back winger role, so that's an option. Paparone, another one that can play in defence. So there's plenty of options there, isn't there? So
there is.
He is a loss, but I think he's a role we can fill for sure.
Yep.
All right, mate. Well, good episode talking to Jarrod and reflecting on a win. It's always good to get a win.
Oh, it is.
I'll check in with you next week.
Thanks, Keags.